Just for fun, I asked ChatGPT here a couple questions about Alberta independence. The first question, what are the odds Alberta holds a referendum to leave Canada? The second question, what are the odds a referendum is successful and Alberta leaves Canada? It says, here's a grounded look based on current political context and polling at the likelihood Alberta holds a referendum on leaving Canada and the odds such a vote would actually result in independence. Number one, what are the odds Alberta holds a referendum on leaving Canada? Quite plausible that a referendum question could appear on a ballot, but not inevitable. Why a referendum is more possible now? The Alberta government under Premier Daniel Smith has signaled it will include a separation question on the 2026 ballot. I'm going to move my head out of the way a little bit. If a citizen petition reaches the required number of signatures, and I've been covering that quite a lot on my channel. I mean, it definitely looks like it's going to blow through the required number, that's for sure. The province has passed legislation to lower the signature threshold and make it easier to trigger a referendum via citizen initiative. Although, I think it's turning out that they may not have even needed to do that because, I mean, we'll see. I don't want to speak out of turn because, I mean, it has to continue to gain momentum, but I definitely think that the movement will. Groups actively gathering signatures and referendum preparations are underway, including legislative funding for Elections Alberta. Public opinion on holding a referendum. Polls show a significant portion of Albertans are open to the idea of voting on separation, though it's far from a majority wholeheartedly demanding it. For example, one major survey found about half would back holding a referendum, with political lines dividing views. Overall likelihood, moderately high that a referendum question could be on the 2026 ballot, especially if proponents gather sufficient petition signatures, which I definitely think they will, and the provincial government keeps supporting the process. So I basically agree with that. Now, the second question, though, I read ahead of this. I mean, if you're pro-independence, this probably isn't going to be an answer you like, although this is not, I don't think, surprising. This is what I would expect AI to say right now. I think we're definitely still in early days of this movement. To make the analogy again, which I've made before on my channel, this feels to me similar, nothing's exactly the same, as the 2026 Trump movement when at first nobody would have said he won. They were literally laughing at Trump.
There's not going to be a President Donald Trump. That's not going to happen.
And of course, we all know what happened with that. And I mean, Canada right now is dealing with the second Trump term. I actually like Trump a lot, but yeah, Canada's definitely dealing with some tariff talk. That's a whole other issue, though. I talk about that in other videos. We will move on. What are the odds the referendum is successful and Alberta leaves Canada? Very low, even if the referendum occurs. But you're saying there's a chance. Lloyd Christmas. Public support for independence is not a majority. Polls consistently show only a minority of Albertans actually say they would vote to leave Canada. For example, one survey showed roughly 25 to 36% supporting independence, while a clear majority preferred staying in Canada or were uncertain. I mean, if you take the glass half full approach here, 36%, and there really hasn't even been, I mean, this poll probably isn't that up to date. There's been a ton, like a flood of media attention the last 2 weeks. It's becoming way more of a vocal movement. If it was already getting at the upper end 36 before this, I don't know. I actually kind of consider that pretty positive for the movement. Another major poll found that only about 18 to 29 would vote yes in a separation referendum conducted, this is important, in May 2025. I almost think those polls in May of 2025 are somewhat irrelevant. It certainly has changed a lot since then. For sure, I mean, even just personally, I didn't hear much of it in May of 2025. I just had heard that it was a thing. That was it, pretty much. Even among those who initially support leaving, many would reconsider if economic or political consequences were highlighted. They said that. That sounds to me like, I mean, I don't know exactly the context. It sounds sort of like, oh, they reconsider if we brainwash them. That's kind of what that sounds like to me anyway, but just AI. But anyway, constitutional and political hurdles. Even if a referendum passed with a majority yes, Canadian law requires the Federal House of Commons to judge whether the vote expresses a clear majority willing to separate before any negotiation on secession can proceed. This is from the Federal Clarity Act and Supreme Court precedent. And of course, you probably know this already. Just because this is AI, like I'm not saying any of this is absolute fact. AI can make mistakes. That means simple provincial approval is not enough for legal secession. Ottawa would have to enter negotiations and agree to conditions, making actual separation extremely complex. Structural and practical factors. Secession isn't just a vote. It would demand negotiations over constitution, treaties, federal assets, borders, national debt, indigenous rights, trade, currency, and military arrangements. None of that is assured, even after a provincial referendum. Yes, so interesting. Overall likelihood Alberta successfully leaves Canada. Very low in the foreseeable future. Realistic odds under current conditions are small. Strong polling majorities still prefer remaining in Canada. Legal, economic, and political barriers to actual secession are high. Even successful referenda in history, example Quebec, have not led to separation, although the last one in Quebec was very close. Like I think it was under 1%, under 2% or something. So bottom line, likelihood of a referendum question on the 2026 ballot, moderate to high. Referendum passing with a majority yes, low. Alberta actually leaving Canada, very low. Interesting. So, I mean, I made my thoughts kind of clear earlier. Again, if you would have asked this question to AI, which didn't exist back then, at least in its current form, about the odds of Trump winning in 2016, do you remember that? I mean, it would have been set. It would have, like, Trump was the underdog up until the very last moment. So, I don't know. I'm kind of feeling a little bit of shades of that. It feels like there might be kind of an underbelly, and I mean, we will see what happens. So let me know your thoughts, though, in the comments. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Have a great day.